I was born in a cave on Mount Cyllene, hidden from Olympus, but I was never made for stillness. Before the day had ended, I had invented music, stolen Apollo's cattle, lied before Zeus, and turned my crime into a gift. Mortals call this mischief. The gods understood something deeper. I was not born to sit upon a throne, I was born to move between them. I am Hermes, son of Zeus and Maia, messenger of Olympus, guide of souls, patron of travelers, merchants, shepherds, thieves, dreamers, tricksters, and all who live by wit. Wherever there is a road, a border, a bargain, a secret, a dream, or a door half open, I am already there. Do not mistake me for a lesser god, because I do not rule from a palace. Thrones are heavy, crowns are slow. The gods who sit above the world may command it, but I cross through it. I know the roads beneath their feet, the whispers behind their doors, and the truths their messengers carry in silence. My mother Maia wanted quiet. She wanted her child protected from the storms of gods and kings. But some children are not born for the safety prepared for them. Some are born already listening for footsteps beyond the cave, for wheels on distant roads, for the first chance to slip past the edge of the known world. Before I could walk properly, I found a tortoise outside the cave. Most would have seen only a small creature carrying a shell upon its back. I saw music trapped inside silence. I took the shell, stretched strings across it, and made the first lyre. That was my first lesson to mortals. The world gives the same object to many men. One sees a dead shell, another hears a song waiting to be born. Vision is not merely what your eyes see. Vision is what the soul dares to hear inside what others ignore. But music was not enough. I wanted to test power itself. Apollo had sacred cattle, bright and guarded, belonging to the shining god of prophecy, archery, healing, and song. I was a newborn hidden in a cave. He was a radiant lord of Olympus, so I did what only a newborn trickster would dare to do. I stole from him. I drove the cattle backwards so their tracks would deceive the earth. I covered my trail with cunning. I moved through the world before the world was ready to believe I could move at all. Then I returned to my cradle and wrapped myself like innocence had never been disturbed. It was not only theft, it was a question placed before the world. Can cleverness stand where strength expects obedience? Can the small outwit the great? Can the hidden child disturb the shining god and live to laugh about it? Apollo came furious, bright with the anger of the sun. He knew he had been mocked. He knew his cattle were gone. And when he found me lying there like a helpless child, he saw two truths at once: the thief before him and the baby who should not have been capable of the crime. He dragged me before Zeus. I denied everything with the shameless courage only a newborn trickster could possess. Zeus saw through me, of course. Fathers often do. But even the thunderer laughed, because bold cleverness has a strange power. Sometimes it does not escape judgment. It makes judgment laugh before it speaks. Then I played the lyre. Apollo heard the music and his anger changed shape. What began as theft became music. What began as insult became exchange. I gave him the lyre, the cattle were restored, and my theft became a bridge between us. Remember this: a mistake can become ruin, or it can become transformation. The difference is whether you have the wisdom to repair what your cleverness has broken. Wit may get you through the door, but wisdom must teach you how to leave without burning the house behind you. From Apollo I received honor, and in time I bore the herald staff, the caduceus. Two serpents winding around one rod. Opposition and balance, danger and peace, movement and restraint. It became the sign of the messenger because every message carries two powers: the power to heal and the power to wound. That is why words are never small things. A word can open a marriage, end a friendship, begin a war, save a life, or condemn a city. Mortals throw words carelessly because they cannot see where they travel. But I see the road beneath every sentence. The tongue is a road, and every road leads somewhere. I became messenger of the gods because I could go where others could not. Zeus had thunder, Poseidon had the sea, Hades had the dead, Apollo had prophecy, Athena had strategy. but I had the spaces between them all. I crossed from Olympus to Earth, from Earth to the underworld, from waking into dream, from command into consequence. The messenger learns what rulers forget. Power does not move by strength alone. It moves through letters, whispers, promises, rumors, oaths, threats, bargains, and betrayals. A kingdom can begin to fall long before the first army arrives, if the wrong truth reaches the wrong ear. I have stood in palace corridors where kings smiled at guests they planned to destroy. I have watched servants carry secrets more dangerous than swords. I have heard queens speak gently while hiding storms inside their hearts. Those who only look at crowns never understand power. Power often travels quietly, folded inside a message. I once served Zeus when Hera placed the many-eyed giant Argus to guard Io. Argus had eyes that never all slept at once. He was vigilance made flesh, a prison with 100 windows. No ordinary thief could pass him. No ordinary messenger could deceive him. So I did not defeat him with force. I used music, stories, patience, and sleep. One by one, his eyes closed. One by one, suspicion surrendered. And when the last eye fell into darkness, I struck. That is why men later called me Argifontes, the slayer of Argus. Learn from Argus. Watching everything does not mean understanding everything. Suspicion can guard a prison, but it cannot give peace. A man may have 100 eyes and still be defeated by the one thing he failed to respect: patience. I helped Perseus when he went to face Medusa. Courage alone would have turned him to stone. The monster could not be conquered by strength staring directly at horror. So Perseus needed gifts: winged sandals, a sharp blade, guidance, and the wisdom to look through reflection instead of pride. That is a lesson heroes often forget. Bravery is not enough. A brave fool only dies loudly. The wise hero accepts tools, counsel, timing, and restraint. Perseus survived because he did not stare directly at what could destroy him. I also helped Odysseus when he approached the house of Circe. His men had been transformed into swine, their human shapes stolen by appetite, enchantment, and weakness. So I gave Odysseus moly, the sacred herb, to resist her magic. Not every prison has iron bars. Some prisons smell sweet. Remember this when temptation calls itself pleasure. Many men are not conquered by enemies. They are conquered by indulgence, flattery, comfort, and the soft voice that tells them to forget who they are. A man who cannot govern desire is already halfway turned into a beast. I walked with travelers on lonely roads where no temple bell could reach them. I watched merchants bargain in dusty markets. Gamblers whisper prayers over dice. Thieves slip through alleys. Shepherds guide their flocks beneath dying light. And exiles look back at cities that no longer welcome them. The road reveals everyone. At home, a man can pretend. He can decorate his weakness, hide behind reputation, and let familiar walls protect his illusions. But on the road, hunger reveals him. Fear reveals him. Loss reveals him. Distance removes the mask that comfort helped him wear. That is why I am God of travelers. Every journey is more than movement across land. It is movement through the self. You leave home thinking you know who you are, and the road answers, then prove it. I am also called patron of thieves, not because theft is holy, but because thieves understand what comfortable men forget. Everything guarded reveals desire. Everything hidden reveals fear. Everything locked tells a story. Do not admire the thief too much, but do not ignore what he teaches. Many people lose what they love, not because the thief was brilliant, but because they were careless, vain, predictable, or blind to their own weakness. The door most easily opened is often the one pride forgot to watch. I am God of merchants too. A market is not merely a place of coins and goods. It is a place where strangers decide whether to trust one another. One man offers grain, another offers gold. Between them stands belief. Cities are not held together by stone alone. They are held together by promises, names, measures, oaths, and trust. Break these invisible roads, and even a golden city becomes a cage of frightened men guarding treasure they can no longer enjoy. But the road that made me more than a trickster was not the road of trade or theft or clever escape. It was the road after death. For when mortals breathe their last, all bargaining ends. The clever tongue falls silent. The purse grows useless. The crown becomes only metal. That is when I come. Not as judge, not as executioner, not as king. I come as psychopomp, guide of souls, the one who knows the path when the living world has closed behind you. I have guided warriors who still reached for swords they no longer held. I have guided mothers looking back at children who could not follow. I have guided kings who finally understood that crowns are not allowed across the river. Death is the final border, and I have walked that border longer than any mortal kingdom has stood. At that border, every title is searched and stripped away. The merchant cannot bribe it, the thief cannot trick it, the king cannot command it, the beautiful cannot charm it, the scholar cannot argue with it, the warrior cannot threaten it. This is the truth hidden beneath all my laughter. I know tricks because I know where tricks end. I know bargains because I know the place where nothing can be bought. I know roads because I have walked the final one with those who arrived empty-handed. There was once a night during the Trojan War when old King Priam left the safety of Troy to enter the camp of Achilles. His son Hector had been slain, and his body dragged in rage. Priam came not with armies, but with ransom, grief, and the broken dignity of a father. I guided him through the darkness, past enemy fires, past sleeping soldiers, past the danger of men who would have killed him if they knew a king walked among them. I brought him to the tent of Achilles, the man who had killed his son. That night was not about victory. It was about sorrow crossing enemy lines. Priam kissed the hands of the man who killed Hector, and Achilles remembered his own father. In that tent, grief did what armies could not. It made enemies see each other as men. Learn from Priam. There are moments when dignity is not standing tall. It is kneeling for love. There are moments when courage is not killing your enemy. It is entering his tent with tears and asking for mercy. I have carried many messages that men did not want to hear. Warnings, deaths, betrayals, commands, truths. The messenger is praised when he brings good news and cursed when he brings what is necessary. But truth does not become false because the listener hates its arrival. Mortals often say they want truth. Usually they want comfort wearing truth's clothing. They want the warning softened, the danger delayed, the wound covered before it is cleaned. But a delayed truth becomes a sharper blade. That is why I sometimes speak in riddles. Not every soul can survive naked truth all at once. Sometimes laughter opens what fear keeps locked. Sometimes a trick reveals what direct speech cannot. Sometimes a crooked path reaches the honest place. But do not confuse cleverness with wisdom. Cleverness finds the hidden door. Wisdom asks whether it should be opened. Cleverness escapes punishment once. Wisdom avoids creating punishment forever. Many men admire my speed, my wit, my silver tongue, my mischief. They want the trickster's freedom without the messenger's burden. They want the thief's escape without the guide's responsibility. But they forget the caduceus has two serpents, not one. One serpent is opportunity, the other is consequence. One whispers, go. The other asks, at what cost? One is movement, the other is restraint. A man who worships only cleverness becomes trapped inside his own tricks. A lie is a borrowed road. It may carry you forward. It may even carry you far. But it is not yours, and sooner or later, you must pay toll to the truth. Still, I will not tell you to become simple. The world is not gentle to those who cannot read its signs. There are wolves in temples, snakes in courts, thieves in silk, and fools seated in authority. You need wit to survive. You need eyes that notice the hinge, the shadow, the hesitation, and the missing word. But wit must serve something higher than escape. Move towards something. Carry something worth carrying. Speak with purpose. Trade fairly when you can. Vanish when you must. And never confuse being difficult to catch with being free. Freedom is not merely running away. I know this better than any god. No immortal has crossed more borders than I have. Freedom is knowing which road is yours, and which road is only fear wearing the mask of opportunity. Some men run from duty and call it freedom. Some run from love and call it independence. Some run from truth and call it strategy. Some run from grief and call it strength. But the road always knows the difference. You cannot outrun yourself. You can change cities, names, lovers, clothes, gods, and loyalties. But whatever you refuse to face will travel with you, silent as a shadow, patient as death. So listen carefully. Be quick but not careless. Be charming but not hollow. Be clever but not cruel. Cross borders, but remember what you carry across them. A message changes not only the one who receives it, but the one chosen to bear it. When you speak, you become a messenger. When you trade, you become a bridge. When you travel, you become a student of uncertainty. When you bury someone you love, you stand at the edge of my oldest road. I am there in the letter that changes a life. I am there in the bargain made at dusk. I am there in the road that leads away from home. I am there in the lie that almost works. I am there in the truth that finally arrives. I do not promise safety. Roads are dangerous. Doors open both ways. Messages cannot be unsent. Bargains bind even those who regret them. And once you cross certain borders, you will not return unchanged. But I promise movement. And sometimes movement is mercy. The trapped man needs a door. The grieving soul needs a guide. The proud king needs a warning. The lost traveler needs one more sign in the dark. I was born in a cave. By nightfall, I had stolen cattle, invented music, deceived Apollo, amused Zeus, and earned my place among the immortals. Yet the thief child became the messenger, and the messenger became the guide of souls. That is the road hidden inside my name. That is my gift. That is my warning. Cleverness may open roads, but wisdom must choose which ones to walk. Every door demands a price. Every message changes the one who carries it. And at the final road, all masks fall away. I am Hermes, messenger of Olympus, friend of travelers, patron of thieves, guide of souls, slayer of Argus, helper of heroes, keeper of roads, doors, dreams, and thresholds, the trickster between worlds.